She poured his coffee like she did every morning, not knowing this quiet customer owned company's worth billions. When four suited men entered the diner, everything changed. What happened next, no one there would ever forget. The bell above the diner door chimed softly as the morning rush settled into its familiar rhythm. Sunlight streamed through wide windows, painting the wooden tables with a golden glow. The smell of fresh toast and warm coffee wrapped the room like a comforting blanket. This place had seen decades of stories, first dates, quiet goodbyes, lonely mornings, and hopeful starts. And behind the counter, as always, stood Lena. Lena wasn't famous, she wasn't rich, she didn't expect miracles, she simply worked. Every morning at 6 a.m., she tied her apron, smoothed her red uniform, and greeted each customer with the same gentle smile. Not because she had an easy life, but because kindness was the one thing she refused to lose. That morning, a man sat alone in booth number 7. He came every day, neatly dressed, calm, polite. He never asked for anything special, just toast, eggs, and black coffee. He paid in cash and always left a small tip, even when business was slow. Most people assumed he was retired, maybe a traveler, maybe just lonely. No one knew his name, except Lena. "Good morning," she said warmly, setting his cup down. "Same as usual," he smiled. "If you don't mind, I never mind," she replied. As she sliced toast at the counter, she noticed how tired he looked that day. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes, but the kind that comes from carrying too much responsibility alone. She placed the plate in front of him carefully, as if it mattered. Because to her, it did. "You look like someone who forgot to take a break," she said gently. He chuckled. "Maybe I forgot how." Lena smiled. "Then today's a good day to remember." He looked at her for a moment, surprised by her words. Not many people spoke to him like that, without wanting something. "Thank you," he said quietly. A kindness that went unnoticed. Lena didn't know that the man she served daily controlled companies across continents. She didn't know his signature could move numbers most people never imagined. And he didn't know that Lena worked 2 shifts, sent money home, and still believed the world could be kind. They were simply 2 people sharing a moment in a small diner. Later that morning, the door opened again. This time, the bell rang louder. 4 men entered, dressed sharply, moving with purpose. Their presence changed the air in the room. Conversations slowed, coffee cups paused mid-lift. They scanned the diner, then walked directly to booth number 7. "Sir," one of them said respectfully, "we've been looking everywhere for you." The quiet man slowly folded his napkin. "I told you," he replied calmly, "I needed 1 hour." Lena froze behind the counter. "Sir." The men stood beside the table, professional and alert. One held a briefcase, another checked the door subtly, not threatening, just attentive. Whispers spread across the diner. Lena stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "Is everything all right here?" One of the men turned, clearly surprised. "Yes, ma'am." The quiet man looked up at her. "Lena," he said, "I owe you an explanation." The truth revealed. He stood, smoothing his jacket. "My name is Daniel," he said. "I lead several companies. Today was meant to be a meeting, but this place reminded me who I was before the noise." The room fell silent. Lena felt her heart race, but her face remained calm. "Oh," she said softly. "Well, your eggs are getting cold." A few people smiled. Daniel laughed, genuinely, freely, for the first time in weeks. "You see," he said to his team, "this is why I come. Here," he turned back to Lena. "You treat me like a person, not a position." She shrugged. "That's how I was raised." A question that changed everything. As Daniel prepared to leave, he paused. "Lena," he said, "why do you work so hard and still smile?" She hesitated, then answered honestly. "Because someone has to," she said. "And because kindness is free, even when life isn't." Daniel nodded slowly. Before leaving, he placed something on the table. Not money, a card. "If you ever want a different future," he said gently, "call this number." She looked at the card, but didn't rush to pick it up. "I like serving breakfast," she said. Daniel smiled. "Then maybe you'll like owning the place." Her breath caught. He tipped his head politely and walked out with his team. The diner bell chimed again. What happened next? Weeks passed. One afternoon, Lena received a call. The diner owner was retiring. The property had been purchased, quietly. The new owner had one condition. Lena would manage it. She stood behind the counter that morning, keys in her hand, heart full. Daniel returned, not as a mystery, but as a friend. "Coffee," she asked. Always, he replied. Sometimes, the smallest kindness reaches the highest places. And sometimes, the person you help quietly is the one who changes your life forever. If stories like this touch your heart, subscribe now to USA Drama 2.0 for more powerful emotional stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us of humanity. Don't forget to like, share, and turn on notifications, because the next story might change your perspective.